Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Time Thief test hand. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is absolutely insane. It can establish 3 to 5 negates per turn, which is really insane with an opening board, and it's just an overall really good deck. So I have to give a quick shout out to my buddy Todd. He's actually the co-host over on StaringAtGames. If you guys will go subscribe to StaringAtGames, it is down in the description below. And he plays this deck like all the time. He plays Time Thieves all the time, but I made my own build because we wanted to mirror match on stream because we live stream Yu-Gi-Oh over on the StaringAtGames channel where you can actually play against me and him on stream. And I played around with this exact build, and it is bonkers. This deck is crazy, it's super fun, and it's really easy to understand, and I'm super excited to show you guys this deck because it's crazy. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below where we have all those awesome rewards you guys, like getting your name shirt every single video, getting a signed card to the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test stands. And without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So like I said, guys, this deck is really insane. I've been playing it a lot recently, especially on like streams and stuff like that, and it's just an overall really crazy deck. Like, it takes the Phantom Knight package, it plays Raid Raptors, it plays Rockets, like it plays a little bit of everything, which is what's really cool. It plays Dinotherium. Like, this deck can just make some of the craziest boards I have ever made in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is really insane. Like, outside of playing like Infernities, this deck can make some crazy boards, and it's really easy to understand, and it's just super fun to play with. Like, I'm really excited to show you guys this build. So let's go ahead and pile shuffle the deck really quick and see what we can do. There's really not, like, I have honestly, I think in the probably 30 to 40 duels that I've played with this deck, I don't think I've bricked once in all of the duels that I played with this deck. And that's being totally honest. Like, you always have at least a small play that you can do in this build. Like, there's never, as long as you have 2 level 4s, you always have at least a redoer usually, and so there's not really a way to brick. I mean, the only way that I could think to brick would be like draw both your Fog Blades and like 3 normal summons and maybe your Rank on Magic spell if you're going second. Like, that's the only way that you could brick, and even then you really wouldn't brick because you still have 2 level 4s. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to draw into a Dinotherium, which is fantastic to go first. Parallel Xyz, fantastic. Quick Launch, Dinotherium, and a copy of Raider's Wing. Okay, so you have a lot of plays with this opening hand, like a lot of plays in this opening hand. So we're going to go ahead and do some very simplistic stuff with this opening hand. So we're going to go ahead and just start special summoning. That's the best way to handle this hand, and it's the best way to handle any of these decks. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out the copy of Dinotherium, because you can special summon it to your side of the field if your opponent, like, the way that you special summon this card, you can just special summon it from your hand. And you can only special summon this card once per turn this way. And when this card is summoned, your opponent can target 1 level 4 monster in either player's grave and special summon that target to their side of the field. Not a big deal. We're just going to immediately special summon it. Then we're going to go ahead, and I like to go directly for my quick launch, so I can go ahead and special summon out a copy of Rocket Tracer. Rocket Tracer is going to help out the deck a little bit and be able to just get you an additional play on your side of the field. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out the copy of Rocket Tracer and see what we can do. So we have plenty of plays in our hand. So let's go ahead and see what we've got in the extra deck. So we've got plenty of plays to go into. You want to usually go for your Raid Raptor as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and overlay both of these together. And I like to start working on my right side of the board first, opposed to the left, because then I'm kind of organized as I play. This is actually a deck that you kind of want to be a little organized, work left to right when I play it, at least. So we're going to go ahead and detach a material from this card to add from our deck to our hand a copy of Singing Lanius. So once you add that copy of Singing Lanius from your deck to your hand, you're going to get an additional play. The only way that this hand probably could have been better is if that second Dinotherium would have been a Winder. That's literally the only way that it could have been better. So we're going to go ahead and add from our deck to our hand a copy of Singing Lanius because it's going to get us an additional monster on our field. So now that we've summoned this card, or we've added this card from our deck to our hand, we're going to go ahead and shuffle. We're going to be doing a lot of that. We're going to special summon out that copy of Singing Lanius, which we're going to link it away so it doesn't super matter. So we're then going to use the copy of Raider's Wing because if this card is in your hand or grave, you can detach a material from a Dark XE monster, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, and you can only use this card once per turn. And then also an XE monster whose original attribute is Dark gains the following effect, but we're just going to use this as a link material. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out our copy of Raider's Wing. I'm going to special summon it down here because I'm not going to use it right now. This is our working area. This is our spare area for extra stuff for right now. We're going to go ahead ahead and detach the copy of Dinotherium because we're not going to need it. Then we're going to go ahead and link these two together and summon out a copy of our Ystrix. Now, Ystrix is very important in this combo because Ystrix has the ability that if this card is link summoned, you get to special summon one level 4 winged beast monster from your deck in defense position, but negate its effects. Also, and you can't use this link material, and if your Raid Raptor AZ monster uses its effect, you can then special, or you can set a copy of a rank up magic spell directly from your deck, which we do play one to go into infinity. So once we're going to go ahead and put this on the field, and I'm just going to tell you guys that every single hand is like this. Every single hand just about in this deck is like this. We're going to go ahead and use its effect, and I always special summon a copy of Zaphros the Elite. Zaphros the Elite is the best card to special summon to your side of the field off this effect because you're going to get an additional play with the Zaphros to be able to bounce a card and be able to use it again. Now, you can't use this for link material. Keep that in mind. That's very important while it's on the field currently. But now that we've summoned this card to our side of the field, special summon it here, you're going to be able to use the Parallel Xyz effect because the Parallel Xyz can then special summon it to your side of the field as a level 4, and then it's going to special summon out an additional Parallel Xyz that is also going to be a level 4, which is going to give you even more plays, which is really good. We're going to go ahead and grab out of the deck the second Parallel Xyz, which is going to come out as a level 4, which is really, really good. So now that we've done this, I would like to go ahead and overlay both of these just to get them out of the way for another copy of, just so it's less confusing, I go ahead and get my copies of my Parallel Xyz out of the way and just get them out, you know, so I don't have to deal with them. And go ahead and overlay for a copy of Forstrix. Now the Forstrix you can then detach, and I know it looks like I'm playing Raid Raptors, but I promise we're not. We're going to use the copy of the Parallel Xyz to grab out of the deck, or the copy of the Forstrix to grab out of a deck, or one more copy of a Raid Raptor monster, which you're going to want to save, which is your copy of your StaringAtGames, and then you're going to grab out of the deck a copy of a rank up magic spell, which I always grab Soulshave Force. Now, you want to make sure this is the only thing that you really have to keep in mind about this deck. It's very, very, very important that you keep in mind this one important fact. The only card in this entire deck that I have seen that locks me down is the StaringAtGames, because it locks you into dark monsters. Be very, very careful of that. You do not want to use this card and put it on your field and then be like, okay, I want to go for infinity now, and then you can't. Don't do that. So this is going to set itself to your side of the field and then immediately, just immediately activate it and special summon out your copy of Forstrix. Now, once you summon out that copy of Forstrix, you're going to be able to immediately overlay on top of it at the cost of half your life points, a copy of Infinity. Now, the Infinity is going to give you that additional play to have an additional gate. Now, we got one negate. We've got one so far. And we're going to keep going because we have more and more and more plays in this particular hand. So now at this point, you can make an additional Xyz play right here, or you can link summon, which I would prefer to link summon right here and go for my copy of Rusty. Rusty is very important too. Summon out your copy of Rusty right here, and then your copy of Rusty will go off and send a copy of a Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the grave to grab you a Phantom Knight card from the deck, which I'm going to always grab the copy of Fogblade. I want to get both my Fogblades as quickly as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and banish the copy from my graveyard of my Silent Boots, or you can wait. You don't have to immediately do it right off the bat to see if you need that extra rank 4. You can save it, which I'm going to save it for the current moment. I'm just going to stick it right here just so I remember it. And I'm going to go ahead and now special summon out the copy of StaringAtGames, because StaringAtGames has the ability, if you control a dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. I summoned Infinity before, which is why you do that before you summon the StaringAtGames. Now, the effect is, if you control an XZ monster with a dark XZ monster as a material, which we don't, you can, well, we do, excuse me, you can target one level 4 or lower Raid Raptor monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is going to get us an additional play, which is why it's important to use this. You have an additional play if you want to. You can't link summon with this, but you can XZ summon. You can kind of stop here a little bit. You can probably go a little bit further, but for conversation's sake, we're just going to use it this way. I'm going to go ahead, not use that effect, and I'm going to go ahead and overlay here, and I'm going to go ahead and summon a redoer. You can summon redoer here, or you can go ahead and banish the copy. This will actually banish itself because it left the field. And you can actually, if you want to, since you have a copy of this in the graveyard, you can banish it and get another copy of either Fogblade, or you can get a copy of the Shade Brigandine if you can get another monster on your side of the field. It's totally up to you which way you wanted to go. It doesn't really matter which way you wanted to go. If you wanted to keep the copy of Raider's Wing on the field instead of using it as link material, you had to use it for link material for the Rusty, so you had to kind of go that route. But you could go ahead and now banish the copy of Silent Boots, and you could go ahead and set to your side of the field the second Fogblade. Now this is where you get like the 3 negates, and you can essentially, if you grab a trap, you get a spin off your opponent right there. So you've gotten 3 negates, you've gotten 3 XZs on your side of the field, and you can still go next turn if you want to go next turn with the plays that you currently have. The 4 Strix is really good to have, the Redoer is really good, and the Infinity is really good just to have those additional plays. And you can also, if you want to let this run away, you can then get your copy of Zaphros in the graveyard, which then can bounce this, and then you can go for more plays there. It's totally up to you if you want to keep going there. That's where I said, if this would have been any other monster that could have special summoned to my field, I could have gotten an additional play. Actually, I don't even think I normal summoned at all. I think I just special summoned the whole time. So you could essentially probably still normal summon this and not grab this and go for an additional play if you wanted to. I don't think I normal summoned. You could then go ahead and normal summon this to your side of the field and then immediately grab from the deck instead the copy of the Rusty or the Shade Brigandine, and then immediately go for an additional play where you could go for the Redoer here and then go for her over here, and it would give you another XZ monster with 1 negate, and then this could attach something onto the Redoer or the Infinity if you want to go that route instead. So it's totally up to you how you kind of play the deck, but that's what's really cool about the deck is if you have more, the more you special summon, the more XZs you can make on your side of the field. And that's basically what the deck does, is it's pretty much a just special summoning everything to your side of the field. But that first board where the Redoer, the Infinity, and everything else, that's probably the most optimal play that you could have gone for. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the additional play. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up again and see what we can do. Because this deck, like I said, it's insane. You get so many different plays with this deck. Like I just showed you guys, you have so many different plays with this deck. And like you can make, sometimes you'll get the Rusty and you'll get the 2 back row with an Infinity and you're fine. And you get 3 negates, and sometimes you open up an Ash, which gives you an additional negate, and then you just like, if you open up Ash and 4 monsters you can special summon, it's probably like one of the best hands you can get. So let's go ahead and see what we can do again. We're gonna get a Winder. I love when I draw into Winder. A copy of Regulator. Regulator's insane. A copy of Singing Lanius. You don't want to draw that. Ash, and a copy of Quick Launch. Okay, that's a good hand. That's a really good hand. So we're gonna go ahead and probably normal summon out the Regulator. I would probably just go ahead and normal summon the Regulator to get it out of the way. I'm just going to play from down here because we're not going to need any of the back row until we start going for Fogblade. So we're going to use this, and if you control no monsters, you can contribute this card to special summon 2 Time Thief monsters with different names from your deck in defense. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out a copy of Bezel Ship. Always summon Bezel Ship. Always summon Bezel Ship off your copy of Regulator. That I cannot emphasize that enough. It is so important to special summon the Bezel Ship, and I believe it negates their effects as well. That also you special summon defense. No, it doesn't even negate their effects. Never mind. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out now a copy of, I would probably do Chronocoder. Chronocoder is just going to help you out a little bit more because you've already got the copy of Winder. If I didn't have the copy of Winder, I would not summon the Chronocoder. I would go for the Winder. But since I have the Winder in hand, you don't have to worry about it. So now that we have both of these on the field, I would like to go ahead and drop the copy of Quick Launch so I can go ahead while I'm in the deck and grab out my copy of Rocket Tracer. Rocket Tracer is really, really, really good to go ahead and get out on the field so you don't draw into it or anything else like that. Go ahead and shuffle the deck up, and then once you shuffle the deck, you're going to go ahead and immediately XZ summon on top of these 2 down here. Again, remember, work from left to right. We're going to go ahead and summon our copy of 4 Strix. Now, once you summon 4 Strix, detach the Bezel Ship because it can come back if you want to, and special summon or add from deck to hand a copy of I always add off of this one. I usually add the copy of Raider's Wing. If I have the copy of Raider's Wing in hand, I will add the copy of Singing Lanius. If I have the Singing Lanius, I'll add the Raider's Wing. These kind of two interchange in the combo, which is really cool. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up. Keep in mind, we haven't normal summoned. We have not yet normal summoned. So we're going to go ahead and take a material off our copy of Chronocoder, and we're going to special summon, or not Chronocoder, but Four Strix, and we're going to special summon out our copy of Winder. Now, Winder's effect is going to go off, and we're going to search a copy of Retrograde, because it lets us add from our deck to our hand. This card's normal special summon. You can add a Time Thief card from your deck to your hand, which gives us an additional negate, which is what I was kind of talking about before that could have got a fourth negate if we could have gotten that play off. But we didn't, which is totally fine. So now we're going to go ahead and special summon to our side of the field the copy of Singing Lanius, and I'm going to normal summon my copy of my Raider's Wing. So now we've normal summoned. Now once we special summon out the copy of the Singing Lanius, you can then link these two away, and once you link these two away, you're going to summon out your copy of Y-Strix. Y-Strix is going to go off, special summon from the deck a copy of your Zaphros. Zaphros's effect is not going to go off, but remember, it cannot be used as link material, so that is very important to keep in mind. And then we're going to go ahead and overlay. I would go ahead and overlay my Zaphros and get it out of the way, because you don't want to have to keep remembering that this can't be used as link material. Go ahead and overlay for a copy of your Four Strix on top of it, because it's going to give you more plays to go ahead and overlay the Four Strix on top of it, and then detach from this card a copy of your Raider's Wing. So once you detach the Raider's Wing, you then can revive it if you want to by detaching the Zaphros, which is going to give you more plays. And you're going to go ahead and search the deck for the Renka magic spell, which is going to set, which is conveniently on the bottom. And I'm going to grab a copy of the Strangle Lanius. Now, here's where it comes in really handy with the Strangle Lanius, because you can do this really cool play. You can go Soul Shave, and I've already got in the graveyard a copy of Four Strix. I can then directly go into the Infinity play that we went for before by paying half the life, and then we can then go ahead and overlay these two right here for our copy of our first Redoer, just to get them out of the way so we can clear up our board a little bit. Now that we've done that, you can then special summon this, use its effect because we do have a dark material on an XZ monster, and then special summon back to our side of the field a copy of Singing Lanius, which is going to get us an additional monster, which then we can link it away with our copy of our Y-Strix, which is just going to get us more plays. That wasn't a special summon of the Raider's Wing, because you still have the Raider's Wing that's live, which is going to get us an additional play. So make your Bardige. Bardige's effect will go off, and send from your deck to the graveyard the Silent Boots, which will get you your first Fog Blade. Banish your copy of Silent Boots from the graveyard. And this is the most optimal field, I have to tell you. This is probably the most optimal field you're going to get with this deck. And then you're going to grab a copy of Fog Blade from the deck, and you're going to go ahead and shuffle with 2 sets. Okay, we have 2 sets. We have the 3rd set, and we're not done. We can then use the copy of our Raider's Wing in the graveyard, because we have not used that card yet, by detaching the material off the copy of the Four Strix, and then immediately overlay these two together, and then make a copy of another monster, which I usually like to go for the copy of Petrula, which is just an additional play, and that's pretty much it. We have 5 negates. How do you see that? Well, you have the copy of Infinity, you have the copy of your Fog Blade, your Retrograde, and the Fog Blade here. You have 5 negates, and then when you pass turn, you can use the copy of Petra, and her effect is that during the standby phase, you can detach material from this card, and then target a Time Thief monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And also, she has the ability that quick effect, you can target one other XZ monster you control and attach Time Thief card from your deck to that card, which, guess what? I'm going to do that on my turn, and I'm going to go ahead, and the reason I play Flyback as a one-of is this reason right here. You can go ahead and use your copy of Flyback, shuffle the deck, and then immediately equip it onto your copy of your Redoer, which is going to give you that additional play to bounce something, so you now have a Compulse and 5 negates. That's insane. I love this deck. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's really turned into one of my favorite decks. This is only a spell and trap negation. That's the only thing about this deck, is it's kind of specific. This can negate anything. This negates monsters. This negates monsters. This negates touching your opponent's deck. And this negates when a spell trap is activated. While you control Time Thief XZ monster, you negate the activation. If you attach that card to that card as a material, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's that's pretty good. And also you have the effect of Rusty, that if you use your copy of your Petrula, you get the effect of, during the standby phase, you can detach a material from this card and then target a Time Thief monster in your graveyard and accept this card and special summon it. And during your standby phase, this will go off, which the Rusty will be able to pop something during your turn. So pretty good, not gonna lie, for a test hand. Like that's really insane. And you can also, during the next turn, if you draw, you're gonna draw into a copy of Dinotherium, which then you can use the Zaphros and then bounce the copy of your Forstrix if it lives through it, and then special summon out the Dinotherium, which your opponent would get a monster, and then immediately overlay these two for an additional play, which you could go for Tornado Dragon if you want to go for Tornado Dragon, which gets you pops, spells, and traps as well. And then you just kind of go in. Like, that's, you're not gonna play through this. Like, it's just Kaiju Slumber, negate, monster effects, negate, search, negate, anything, negate, like bounce, anything. Like, you have so many plays with this particular field, it's insane. So I think that's probably the most optimal board I'm gonna get out of this deck. Like, you can get the 3 negate where I showed you guys the first time, where you get a little bit more simplistic, but basically you're just climbing. Remember, the most important thing about this is use your Raid Raptors first, and then make sure that you don't do this, okay? This is the only, like, restriction that I have found in this entire deck that doesn't interact well. Like, everything else interacts well, is these 2 cards. The copy of Rank Up Magic and the Soul Shave, or the copy of your Lanius. These 2 don't interact well because of the effect of Infinity being a light monster and this being locking you into darks. That's the only downside to this entire deck. Like, everything else just flows, and you get all sorts of insane plays. And you also, if you wanted to go for it too, at any point, you could also go for your copy of Zeus. Like, you also have Zeus to board wipe. If things go south, you can use your copy of Zeus. And Raiders Knight helps you OTK if you put 2 Xyz monsters on the field with your copy of your Arc Rebellion, which can cold wave the field too. So yeah, you have that too. So this deck is probably one of my, turning into probably the deck I might carry to tournaments, because it's just going to surprise people. And if they don't, even if they stop like 1 or 2 plays in this deck, I just keep going. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there really wasn't, like, the first play, the Regulator on the second test hand was probably my only real choke point that you could have stopped me. But if you would have stopped that, I would have been in a really bad position, which is why I think this deck has a tough time sometimes. But it's really, really insane. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, what you think of that insane test hand, because that's probably been one of the top 3 and most insane test hands that I've ever done on this channel, summoning all those cards on my side of the field and just getting all those insane plays. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can become part of Notification Squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.